As night fell, Em curled up on her bed, burying her face in the pillow. With her hands wrapped around the back of her neck and her knees drawn tightly to her chest, she looked like a turtle retreating into its shell. Troubled thoughts filled her mind. Why am I like this? I'd rather die. I don't want to live anymore. Returning home after work, another exhausting and stressful day had finally come to an end. Yet, alone on her bed in the silence of the night, Em remained overwhelmed by worry, tension, and anxiety. These emotions relentlessly tormented her, partly because of work pressure, and partly for vague reasons she could not fully understand. Her full name is LTM. Born in 1991, she lives in TQ Ward, TQ City. As a child, Em was quite shy. As she grew older, she became increasingly reserved in social situations and always felt nervous in front of crowds. Even after entering the workforce and gaining more life experience, little changed. In fact, she became even more insecure and withdrawn, avoiding contact with others whenever possible. Em herself could not understand why she had been plagued by such negative emotions for such a long time. Even minor setbacks would leave her feeling tense and fearful. Moreover, she often felt mentally sluggish. At work, it took her a long time to understand and solve even simple problems. The pressures of her job pushed her anxiety and fear to the breaking point. There were many times when she wanted to die, to put an end to the psychological torment whose cause she could not identify. To Em, life felt like an endless darkness with no way out. She felt powerless to help herself. Seeing her daughter's condition, Em's mother grew deeply worried. Sitting gently on the edge of the bed, she softly suggested, "Why don't you try learning and practicing the Buddha's teachings? It might help bring you some peace of mind." Em's older sister agreed. "That's right. Why not give it a try?" Em replied, "I don't believe in it. How could Buddhism possibly help me?" Hearing this, her mother and sister could only sigh and stop persuading her. Then her mother asked, "Have your feet still been feeling cold lately?" "They're always cold, whether it's winter or summer." "It hasn't improved at all, Mom. I always have to wear socks to keep them warm," Em replied. Later, Em happened to become acquainted with a Buddhist practitioner who was a friend of her sister and devoted to her spiritual practice. After learning about Em's situation, the woman suggested that she recite the Ksitigarbha Sutra. Surprisingly, this time Em did not refuse. She trusted the practitioner's advice and immediately began reading the sutra at home. She also started researching stories about karma online and read many articles on Buddhism from the website thuvianquangtu.com. The more she read, the more she began to understand. She realized that death is not the end, and that throughout countless lifetimes she had created immeasurable negative karma, forming enmities with many sentient beings. According to the law of cause and effect, these actions had led to the suffering she was experiencing in the present. She understood that she needed to stop creating harmful karma and dedicate her merits to the karmic creditors with whom she had unresolved grievances, hoping to dissolve these karmic ties and improve her circumstances. From that moment on, Em formally began her spiritual practice. She recited the Ksitigarbha Sutra, chanted the Buddha's name, practiced life release, and dedicated the merits of her good deeds each day to her karmic creditors. She continued this practice diligently for 6 months. Then one night, she had a strange dream. In the dream, she saw numerous shrimp and snails clinging to both of her legs. One by one, she used her hands to remove them. When she woke up, she suddenly realized that her feet were no longer so cold that she needed to wear socks all the time, as she had in the past. She came to believe that the spirits of these shrimp and snails had been her karmic creditors, causing her chronic coldness over the years. Through the dedication of merit, she felt that these karmic debts had finally been resolved, and her condition disappeared. Throughout those 6 months, Em's mental state had gradually stabilized. She became stronger and more resilient, no longer plagued by irrational fears. She was able to communicate more confidently with others. In social situations, she no longer felt inferior or anxious. Her mind also became sharper. Tasks that once took her an entire day to understand could now be grasped and completed within 5 to 10 minutes. Excitedly, Em said to her mother, "It's truly miraculous, Mom." Her expression softened as she continued thoughtfully, "I was wrong. I used to have no faith in Buddhism, but now the Buddha's teachings have helped me overcome years of emotional suffering." Her mother gently replied, "Actually, it was also your own effort and determination to practice. If you hadn't chosen to learn and apply the Buddha's teachings, then no matter how wonderful they are, they couldn't have helped you. The path has always been there. You simply have to be willing to walk it." "You're right, Mom. You can only truly believe through practice. I regret not listening to you and my sister before." From that day forward, the seeds of faith in Buddhism began to grow within her. Although her condition had improved and her mental state had returned to normal, Em continued her spiritual practice to gain the deeper benefits that Buddhism can offer to those who persevere. Now, when night falls and the day comes to an end, Em is finally able to sleep peacefully and comfortably, free from fear and the endless worries of daily life. She draws strength from the light of the Buddha's teachings, allowing them to guide her toward a more meaningful and virtuous life, not only in this lifetime, but in those to come.